Good evening, everybody. Today's video will be about the Beretta M9A3. And unfortunately, I'm here to be the town crier. Well, fortunately and unfortunately, depending on how you're looking at it. And this is in no way, shape, or form to knock Beretta. I bought one. I was lucky enough to get my hands on one. They had it for sale. I ran, I grabbed it, I looked at it, I said, I have got to get this gun. Surprisingly, it's the very first gun I ever bought. But I now set the bar so high that any other gun has quite a competition if I'm going to buy it. The Beretta M9A3 will not disappoint, I'm telling you. Save your pennies. They're not that cheap. But many people that even own Berettas and other guns are saying this is a must-have. All of the refinements that it offers. There's so many other videos that are out there about that stuff. The Vertec grip, the threaded barrel, the coatings that are on it, the safety decocker that goes up like 10% higher than normal, the checkering on the grip, the Vertec thin grip panels. So many things. The extended magazine release button that makes it so much easier to release the magazines. It comes with 3 magazines of 17 rounds apiece. Or, of course, if you're in a restrictive state, they also have the 10-round version as well, which is what I have. Some people don't like the color of the M9A3, but I'm telling you, do your homework. Look at other guns. And if you can get your hands on one, you will not be disappointed. I'm telling you right now, it's worth every penny that I spent on it. I love it. I bought the gun on a recommendation. Yes, this military uses it. It's a service pistol. It may not be the most modern looking thing, but it's a Beretta, and the name speaks for itself. I'm telling you. But here's my problem. My gun is not in my possession right now, which is why there's no video. I'm just making a slideshow and discussing the problem. My gun is on the way back to Beretta. Uh-oh. Yeah, well, that's the thing. This is why I'm making the video. A small number of you out there will have this problem. So before you touch your gun and shoot it anymore, take a look at my problem and see if you don't have the same problem. I spoke to Beretta and they agreed there is a manufacturing defect. They're recalling any of these guns. Call them up, speak to customer service. Customer service was very nice to me. They admitted that there's a problem. Several people have called to complain about it, and here is the problem in a nutshell. The trigger that you pull to fire the gun rotates on a pin. The trigger pin has a pin head, and it slides in through the entire length of the body of the gun. That's how the trigger rotates on the pin. But if that pin were to fall out, the trigger will fall out. That would be bad. So what holds the trigger pin in place? Well, that's the problem. There is supposed to be a small metal bar that hangs down. It's actually the very tip of a spring. The spring retention, the retention spring sits on the outside of the trigger pin head. Okay, so that little bar that's sticking down there over the tip or head of the pin, it's part of a spring system. The trigger pin retention spring must be on the outside of that pin. If it is not, the pin can and probably will fall out, and maybe when you need it the most. So I'm here as a town crier to say, if you own a Beretta M9A3 or know someone that does, have them take a look at the firearm. Have them take a look at the trigger pin head and see if the trigger pin retention spring is on the outside. If there is no little metal bar hanging down and all you simply have is just the pin head, stop using the gun because you don't want to lose the pin. The pin can easily be slid out, and I saw a YouTube video about this. after I went to the range and shot a box of 50 rounds through the gun, I was fortunate that I didn't lose the pin. When I came home, I was looking at YouTube videos, and one guy talks about how his pin fell out in the middle of shooting. He didn't know what was wrong when he finally figured it out. The pin fell out. So I went and I grabbed my gun and I'm looking at it, and sure enough, I could take my pinky fingernail and easily slide the pin out. That's bad, because there's no trigger pin retention spring holding it in place. So I contacted Beretta. They want the gun back. They want to make sure that there's no defects other than this. Hopefully it's the only problem. They can easily fix it. But as it turns out, if you go into the body of the gun, lift the sliding unit out. First you have to take the slide off, strip your gun, and the black sliding piece here pulls out just a little bit and rotate it to the left. And oh, look at that. There's a spring behind there. But the spring is in the wrong position. What you need to do is lift the spring, take a screwdriver, pull it up just enough that you can then slide the pin head all the way in, and then release the spring so that the pin is being now held in place by the trigger pin retention spring. That should solve the problem, but if you have this gun and notice this defect, that there is nothing holding the trigger pin in place, contact Beretta, see what they say. They'll probably want to take a look at the gun and go over everything with a fine-tooth comb, make sure there were no other issues or problems with the manufacturing or assembly of the gun before it left the factory. In my case, they let one go, and the issue that I'm having, I'm not the only one. That's why I'm making this little town crier video. So unfortunately, like I said, I don't have the actual gun with me because Beretta is about to receive it in the mail in the next day or so. And they'll be looking at it and they're going to send it back to me pretty soon once they make sure that everything is fixed. So just to recap, if you own a Beretta M9A3, first of all, congratulations. I hope you're enjoying your gun as much as I am. Secondly, be safe. Do everything. Safety, 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 safety. Okay? And lastly, take a look at that trigger pin head retention spring. If it's there, you probably don't have a problem. If it's not there, it's probably hiding behind the pin head. If you want to fix it yourself, lift that spring up all the way, let the pin slide all the way in the way it should, release the spring so that it goes over the pin head. That should solve your problem. But honestly, I would contact Beretta. That's why I'm making this video. Be safe out there. God bless. Take care. And always practice safety, safety, safety.